As we begin this afternoon, I need to note that today's chat is in memoriam for my son, born Sunday, February 9th, 1969, at 8:40 p.m., died Monday, March 6, 2000, time unknown. In her book, Rising Strong, Brené Brown says, "We run from grief because loss scares us. Yet our hearts reach toward grief because the broken parts want to mend." As I began to write the Walkerville Desire series back in 2018, I knew that someone's dying would be part of the series. In Book 1, Return, Frances and Ginny lose their mother, Maddie Perdue. Her death is expected. It's slow and painful, giving everybody around her, including herself, the opportunity to say goodbye. Her impending death also gives her the impetus to say to Fiona all that she needs to say about Fiona's future with Frances. In Book 6, Renaissance, we have Bendigo's unexpected death as he's surrounded by the next generation of Walkervillians, including Frances and Fiona. While his was a sudden death, Bendigo lived the life he wanted. He loved his small town, entrusting its inhabitants to its protege, Torquil MacLeod. As well as he loved Walkerville, he knew this community would have difficulty adjusting to a Scot taking over his practice, so Bendigo wisely made provisions. In the yet unfinished drafts of Books 9 and 10, a death occurs in each one. Book 9's death happens, as it were, off-screen before the protagonist arrives in Walkerville. In Book 10, a beloved character fails to wake up one morning. Of my 7 women's novels, all but one has death as an important story element, and several have multiple deaths. Death became part of my story 22 years ago when my son died at age 31. He taught me to love, and more than that, he taught me to love unconditionally. Perhaps this is the love all parents have for their children. Since then, I have been a little broken in that my heart has closed off, and the joy I felt being around my son, the way my heart would light up when he entered my line of sight, has gone. It has taken me many years to rejoin the living, and you need to know that writing my first book, a woman's novel which is not yet published, which I started in August 2017, has been a way back for me. A personal event occurred earlier in 2017 that brought me the same grief that I had experienced when my son died. I knew then I wasn't finished grieving, that I might never be. In his brilliant paper, The Geometry of Grief, a mathematician on how fractals can help us fathom loss and reorient to the ongoingness of life, Michael Frame says, "Every loss reveals what we are made of." The weight of my loss was killing me. I had no idea who I was. I was living that life of only pretending to care about people, places, and things. My grief consisted of all the sub-griefs I had not let myself feel, experience. I wanted to accept that my son had died and that I would grieve for the rest of my life. I also wanted to live. I did not want to become an embittered old woman rejecting everything and everybody. A question plagued me. How would I know I'd succeeded? As Professor Frame states, grief is a response to an irreversible loss. To generate grief rather than sadness, the thing lost must carry great emotional weight. It must pull back the veil that covers a transcendent aspect of the world. Writing my first woman's book helped me move away from my fog life back into the sunlight. I wrote that book not knowing I was writing a book. Sometimes I felt possessed, that I was doing automatic writing. The characters rushed to me, talking to me, urging me to write this story. I had not felt so alive in such a long time. This first book enabled me to feel rage, wail in frustration, and write about an unexpected love affair. Several deaths were part of that book, and that was okay. It felt natural. Somewhere in my being, I was beginning to understand that death is a natural part of life. That was a different idea that I had been feeling since my son's death. For some time, I was enamored with the thought of dying. Rather, incorporating death into my books and watching my characters come through the ashes and back to the living was cathartic and brave for them and for me to witness. And sometimes, like me, time was frozen for them, or it raced along, surprising in its lightning speed. Time has become my ally. Some days the days are not long enough to do all that I want to do. Time used to just creep along minute by minute, hour by hour. I was often disappointed to discover it was still the same day. Right now, right this very moment, I am grateful that I got to spend 31 years with my son. I am grateful he taught me unconditional love. I am grateful he is still a huge part of me and I move forward today. I am time rich. I have sculpted time for reflection, writing, feeling, arriving at a truce with my grief, which is ever shifting. Attention to beauty is a channel back to wholeness. Red-tailed hawks, snowy white egrets, broad-backed blue herons bring me soaring joy. The cool breeze from the algae-filled pond makes me glad to be breathing in and out. I laugh when I see white kites hover in place, twirling like dervishes. To see beauty in nature or in a poem or a piece of writing or a work of art, to feel connected to another human being helps me to delve into deeper moments. My grief gives me glimpses of loss that may not be unpacked for years, maybe never, and that's okay. My grief will leak out as it has this week. Tears come unbidden, memories are replayed. I am time rich. And it's only lately that I've come to appreciate this short poem by Mary Oliver. Its title is The Uses of Sorrow. Someone I loved once gave me a box full of darkness. It took me years to understand that this too was a gift. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for your patience with the IT glitches that we had, and I hope we didn't lose anybody. And even more so than usual, I'm so very glad for the people who stuck and listened. And I'd love to hear back from you. You can leave a note in the comments here or drop me a line through Facebook or Instagram or email. All the particulars are down below in the description. Next Wednesday, I'd like to give you an update and progress report on the next book in the Walkerville series. Plus, of course, whatever else is on my mind. I hope to see you then. And before we close, I want to remind you to like this video just below and click that red subscribe button to make sure you're notified of what I'm up to. Also, if you know someone you think would like to join us, please give them my YouTube links. As vulnerable as I sometimes feel sharing bits of myself, I welcome this chance to share thoughts with you. And the more folks in the conversation, the more interesting it becomes. Of course, new readers are always welcome as well. Far better than any advertising is a personal recommendation. So please share my stories with those who might enjoy them. The address of my Amazon page is in the description as well. All the Walkerville books are available to purchase in both Kindle and print conditions. And as always, the direct link for next Wednesday's live chat is there too. Hope to see you then, and thank you again for joining me.